guys? Welcome to another video here on Navigating the Mats. Today, we got a special treat for you. We have both of us here today doing a video together. So normally you'll see one of us filming a video and then the other one, but today we're here together. We got some questions prepared for each other. We don't know what they are, so we're going to see how it goes. Our hope is to just kind of introduce us to you guys a little bit. I know that most of the viewers and subscribers are from our gym or from kind of like our jiu-jitsu network, but there are some people out there that are following along that I don't know. So hopefully this video kind of introduce us to you guys a little bit more, maybe give you guys some of our background, and I don't know, maybe share some funny stories.
Yeah, no, I've got quite a few questions. I think I've got about 5 good questions for you. That I think
bad ones.
Ooh, that's a good question. Maybe 2.
I got 5.
No,
I got 5 questions.
Okay,
well,
perfect. So 5 questions each. Mine aren't too bad, but they will maybe make you think a little bit. So we'll see. But yeah, like he was saying, is just trying to get you guys just to see how like we interact together, and just kind of bouncing questions off of each other that maybe you guys have wanted to ask us, but never really knew how to or never knew the right time to ask us. So we're gonna ask each other some of these questions, so that way you kind of see some of our experiences and some of our thoughts on jiu-jitsu as well. So you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go
All
first.
Right.
So my questions, I mean, they're not too crazy. I think I've heard the story on this first one, but I think it's a funny story if I remember it correctly. But I just wanted to ask you if you remember your first day, like the very first time you showed up to do a jiu-jitsu class. I want you to paint a picture for us and bring us back to that day and kind of what was going through your mind.
Yeah, so I remember I was looking online, and when I was in high school, I had heard a lot about JWs, and I was like, what a funny name. I'm like, whose name just has 2 letters? And I just didn't understand it, but I was kind of like, all right, well, I'll check it out. And I remember posting on Facebook something about like wanting to try jiu-jitsu, and a friend that I had met through actually like a car community out in North Carolina was like, hey, if you have the chance to train with JW, like, go and do it. I'm like, well, if this guy halfway across the country knows who JW is, I'm gonna go do it. So I remember I pulled up, I was 18 years old, I was wearing a white cut-off tank top, and I probably looked like the biggest loser.
Classic.
Classic, yeah, in the world. Back then they didn't do loaner gis, so I didn't have a gi. I didn't know I was supposed to.
So you just trained your first day in a white tank top?
Yeah, correct. And I remember, you remember...
What year was this?
2011.
Okay.
Yep,
I wonder if I was there.
Yeah. You might have been there. I can't remember. I think you were either there that day or you were there like the second day I trained. And I remember sitting in the parking lot, like trying to hype myself up because I was like, man, I hope I don't walk in. There's like somebody from high school that I don't like that's there. And I saw a guy walking in with a gi. And in my head, I'm like, oh crap, am I supposed to have one of those before I walk in? And I was like, no, stupid, you're brand new. Just go in there and at least talk to him and just get some information. So walked in. I remember JW was sitting against the wall talking to somebody, and he saw me, and he's like, hey, can I help you? I was like, yeah, I just wanted to try a class. And I remember, like as he's walking over, I kind of, like, glazed the room, and I was like, there's nobody here that I know. I'm good. So I was like, I don't have to worry about that. He came over, talked to me, and this, like I said, this was before we had loaner gis, so, like, I'm the only guy out there with, like, normal, like, workout clothes on. And so the funny part about it was, like, the guy that I worked with, we were doing something with double sleeves. It was either like Spider Guard or like Tomonagi or something. I can't remember. And we were like trading his gi top back and forth so we could do it. So for all of our students that are like, trying out jiu-jitsu, like, you guys are so lucky that we have loaner gis for you, because at least you're not like trading gis back and forth. And so yeah, I remember doing that. And I just remember it was just different. Like, I had tried like an MMA type gym before, and whenever I went to JW's at the time, it was Grappling Concepts before it was ever Gracie Umida, and I was just like, I was getting beat up, of course, but at the same time they're like, hey, don't do this, don't do that, don't put your foot here, and I was like, oh my god, they actually care about me getting better. And I was like, that wasn't how it was at the last place. So that's when I knew. I was like, okay, I'm in the right place here, And I think that was pretty much it. And I just remember like JW pulling me into his office, and like the whole time I'm talking to him, like at the time I was like, yeah, I want to do MMA and blah blah blah. And he's like staring at my tattoo on my arm, and he's like, yeah, that's great, man. Where'd you get your tattoo done? And so it was like we got to talking about that, and I was just kind of like, okay. So then that was pretty much the first day. I was like, okay, well, I'll be back tomorrow, and I'll be back on Thursday, whenever my work schedule allows me. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was something along those lines. So yeah. I knew it was an interesting story, so I wanted the people to hear it.
Yeah, it was one of those, like, I'm glad that I stayed. You know, like, I'm glad that I went in there, because if I would have left, I don't know if I would have came back. But yeah, I'm glad that I stayed and kept showing up.
Look at you now.
Yep. Let's see.
What do you got for me?
All right. I'm going to go a little out of order. What's the hardest tournament that you've ever done?
I mean, I would probably assume, like, I've competed in the Worlds out in California, competed in the Pan Ams. Cozen, you remember Cozen back in the day?
I do.
They ran a 170-pound under tournament too for a
I
while.
That. I was a white
belt. I was probably like 140 then, and I competed in that. But probably the World Championships. I did Pans at white, blue, and purple, and then I did the Worlds at blue and purple. So I'd say those tournaments. I mean, you get some of the best competition out there. People that are training for these tournaments, and not, some of your local tournaments. You may get a couple guys that a little bit more hobbyists, not people that are training full time for it. So I think that's probably where the toughest tournaments.
What's the farthest you made it at Worlds at any belt?
A couple rounds. I never placed at Worlds. White belt, I won the Pan Ams, and then at blue belt, I lost first round 2-0 to the guy who won the whole thing. Purple belt, I won, I think, a couple matches, but I lost to somebody who eventually got third, so never made it to the podium at the Pans of the Worlds, other than at the white belt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
All right,
go ahead.
Next one. What is your most memorable win, or just your most memorable match that you've had so far?
Oh man, we're gonna have to edit this down for all the times I have to think through all these matches.
The wheels are turning.
Memorable win. Actually, this one pretty easy. I'm trying to think. Is there any others? This one that I'm just trying to go through in my head. But I want to say it was my very first super fight at purple belt. It was a super tough match. I remember leading up to it I was sick, so my cardio was absolutely terrible. And had a really good match with the guy. It was a little controversial because I started to take his back, and we rolled and we went out of bounds, and I had the seat belt and I had one hook. When we reset, instead of just kind of standing us back up, we reset in the same position, and all he did was turn his hips, and then he just was in side control. But it was more a back escape than it was an actual guard pass. And they were upset because there was no points, and once the referee explained why there was no points, they were still upset. But it went to overtime, and I just remember JW yelling at me how bad do you want it? And I was real bad, but I'm pretty tired. And so
I also want some water.
I want some water would be nice too. And I just remember my wife was there, my dad and my sister were there, my roommate was there. So I was I have to win this match. And so I remember I pulled guard, and he just kind of gave me the omoplata, and I swept him, got the points for overtime, and that was it. I celebrated way harder than I should have, but I was excited, and I think that was probably the most memorable win that kind of meant the most, because it was in front of so many people, and it was my first super fight. So I was excited to be on that stage and kind of show what I can do. So I think that's probably it. I can't really think of any more. To be honest.
That's cool. I mean, I thought you were gonna mention your Fuji World Pro Fight of the Night.
That one, that one was tough.
I was in the back warming up, but the crowd was going crazy. I thought that was gonna be the answer.
But I would say it's probably a close second, just because the guy I was going against, I was not supposed to beat, and everybody was kind of he had been a brown belt for a long time. Thank you. I knew it was gonna be tough. Whenever they told me his name, I was Oh man, that's gonna be a tough one, and I have to pull guard, or he's gonna launch me. And so I was like, yeah, let's pull guard. And like we had a really good match. It was tough. And yeah, just hit him with like my main sweep, like right at the end, and with 1 second left in overtime. And to me, I thought it was kind of a boring match because we were just kind of sitting in the same position for the whole match. But
it was the ending that was.
It was the ending, and because I tried hitting him with that sweep earlier, and he just wasn't giving it to me, and then it was just right at the last second got it, and I was like, okay, well, I'll take it. So let's see. Definitely top two for sure. Let's see. What do you think the hardest part about jiu-jitsu is? Just anything about jiu-jitsu. What do you think the hardest part is?
I think the hardest part is just kind of like finding the time to come in and train, and then pushing through those times where you're just kind of getting beat up. And like when you first join jiu-jitsu, you may not have like a ton of friends, and your friends may be off like doing whatever you guys used to do on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights, and then now you're trying to get into this jiu-jitsu thing. You may not have friends yet at the gym, and you're getting beat up all the time. You're sitting there after class after getting choked out like 12 times. You're like, dude, I could have been sitting at home, cuddled up on the couch with my girl.
Is this worth it?
Why do I come here and get beat up? So I think that's the toughest part. It's in the beginning, and if you just find the way to just fight through that, get used to it, I guess, a little bit. Eventually, you're on the other end of that spectrum, and it becomes a lot more fun.
I think getting outside control is the hardest part. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's good. No, it's true.
You figure out how to get out of there. You gotta let me and everybody else know. All right. Third question. Simple.
Okay.
Favorite submission.
Oh man.
You can only pick one?
If I have to only pick one, it's something that I honestly hit all the time. Like, it's not something that I always hunt, but I hit it so much. It's the guillotine. It's just always there. It's just so simple. It's just so easy, and it's just like I hit it out of scrambles for like no reason. People just leave their neck out. It's like, thank you for that neck. It's like I want to say triangle, but I feel like you can almost guillotine anybody. I don't care how big your neck is. Like as long as I can get my arm around it, like you're gonna get guillotined. So, what about you?
In the gi, you like it?
Yeah, absolutely in the gi. Absolutely, it's a little bit harder in the gi for sure.
And no gi, that's all I do.
Oh, that's it.
Just snatch the neck out.
What's yours?
Right now, I would say for a while my favorite submission used to be like omoplata because a lot of people overlook it. But we're doing a little bit more no-gi now, and I think my favorite submission is the head and arm choke. There is something like once you catch that head and the arm and you get your shoulder in there, this person is still fighting, but you just know like
you don't have to do
anything.
You can't
move. Like you're done.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time before I get the right pressure, and you're just like the whole time. You're in a great spot. You're chilling out, and you're just squeezing.
Yep.
And squeezing, and that's probably my favorite.
Nice.
I like that one.
Let's see. Man, here's a good one. And I'm going to expand on the question a little bit so you kind of know what I'm saying. Do you think jiu-jitsu is done developing its different systems? There's only so much that the human body can do, right? Whereas like a while back we had like Kenny Cornelius coming up with like the worm guard and then the squid guard and all this stuff, and it's like, there's only so much we can do with the lapels legally. Do you think jiu-jitsu's kind of done, or do you think there's going to be like more systems that are uninvented that are going to come out?
Yeah, I mean, I think there has to be, I mean, more and more people are training jiu-jitsu, more and more body types are training jiu-jitsu, different minds are training jiu-jitsu, different personalities are training jiu-jitsu. People are going to have different problems and different solutions, and that's what, ends up like causing this evolution of different techniques or systems or whatever. A lot of it's probably going to be variations of different stuff, but people are going to find new ways to link moves together. People are going to find new ways to just like explain it. I mean, how many times have you seen a move and you're like, okay, I get it, and then someone else teaches it, exact same move but explains it different, and you're like, oh, duh, that makes so much more sense. So I think you'll just continually see that. It will be interesting as far as like tournaments and kind of like the rules and the regulations as they try to get jiu-jitsu a little bit more mainstream and a little bit more like fan friendly to watch. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I watched the Pans this past weekend and it was kind of boring. It really was. I watched the NCAA wrestling. It was way more entertaining. So it'll be interesting to see what rules tournaments put into place, because that may ultimately kind of guide some of the evolution as well too. So
Yeah, no,
we'll see.
absolutely.
But I don't think it's done. I don't.
Nice.
Jiu-Jitsu's got a long way to go. Fourth question. Similar to the last one, but what is your favorite technique or your favorite lesson to teach someone?
If they're more advanced, and let's say they've been training for a couple of years, I've always played collar sleeve for a long time. If it's from the bottom perspective, I love teaching collar sleeve. I just feel that it's such a powerful system of controlling one arm with your hand, and then controlling the other arm with your foot, and then being able to control the posture with your right hand, and then your left foot can either go to De La Hiva, go underneath, foot to the hip, and you just have so many different options from there. So I love teaching collar sleeve. It's because I just feel like it's such a strong position. But if we're going the top perspective, I love to show people, when I was a white belt, I did a lot of Toriano passing because I wasn't a very big guy. So I was I can't smash people, but I feel like everybody can kind of do outside passing, no matter what size and shape you are. So I feel kind of connecting Toriano to leg drag to knee cut to long step to back step, all these different things that connect so well. One of the guys that we trained with a long time ago, he goes, I'd much rather pass the guard than play the guard, because passing the guard is like dancing. It's just connecting all these moves together. And I just kind of like the science of that. I think it's fun to put somebody on their back in a defensive position where they have to play catch up from playing from behind, where you're just constantly applying that passing pressure to them and, kind of putting them in that uncomfortable state. So, all right, let's see. Who's your favorite black belt to watch? Only one when you were coming up through the ranks. Who was your favorite to watch?
Oh man, I've had a bunch of different favorite ones. It just depended on the kind of the mood I was in. But I would say ultimately, I probably settled on the Mendez brothers. I think they're so good, man. They are so good, and their records show that for sure. Yeah. But Guy Mendez, man, his passing was so good because it was very deflective, but at the same time he had really good pressure. It was constant pressure on people, but at the same time he was moving left, moving right, going up, going down, switching it up. So I watched a lot of him. And then Hoffa, I mean, that's all you need to say. Hoffa,
same thing.
His just his back taking, his arm bars from everywhere. You had to watch out for submissions literally all the time. Those guys were probably my favorite to watch, is in a sense of who am I trying to study and emulate and try to take their stuff and put it into my game.
Right.
And then as far as who just to watch, Bruno Malfacine. He's got to be the funnest person to watch. I still watch him on Instagram all the time. Yeah. He is jumping. It's amazing. I don't know how he does it.
That guy, I watched a video of him just I think he was going
flying around.
Yeah, he was going with a big 250, 300 pound purple belt, and was just all over the place. Just pulling him around, jumping to the other side, taking him down. I was just how is he doing this? This guy is tiny, and he's just doing whatever he wants.
Oh, he's so far ahead of everybody. His
is.
anticipation, he knows what you're doing before you had breakfast that day.
100%.
He's gone.
So. Yeah, 100%.
My turn?
Yep.
All right, last one. Okay.
Yep.
So, the guys at the gym, they're going to love this one.
Oh, boy.
Controversial, hot topic here at the gym. I am to blame a lot for this. In your honest opinion, you don't have to worry about offending me. I set the rules. I set the rules. The rules are the rules.
Okay.
Do you think people should be able to wear whatever gi colors they want? Any mixed matches, anything?
I'm gonna get a phone call after we upload this video.
It's your opinion. It's all right.
I want to. It's crazy.
For those of you who don't know, we wear white gis at the gym. Here, that's what we do.
I've got so many different opinions on this that it's people are gonna be he's just trying to play the safe card, and I'm really not, because it's with the white gi only, it looks very good. Whenever you take a picture, if you have a big class or a big seminar and it's just all one color, it looks so good. What makes it look weird, and there's gonna be a few different opinions about this. What makes it look weird is you got the one guy wearing the blue gi.
Yeah.
And it's when everybody else is wearing white gis, and you're just that just looks weird. It just looks off.
That guy didn't get the memo.
Right, he didn't get the memo. When it comes to, like, I don't know, I had always heard this weird thing. I don't know where it came from. I don't know who said it. But, like, if you wear, like, a black gi in the academy, like, it's dirty. Like, it's I don't really know how to explain it, but like, it's dirty. Like, it's just like, oh, you're disrespecting the mats by wearing a black gi. And I don't know where that came from. I heard it said one time, and I was like, well, that's kind of stupid. But I have heard that before. Now, in the sense of, like, if you have a bump, like, everybody's wearing different colored gis, and you take that picture, it's like, okay, well, organize them, you know, right? Then it looks a little bit better. But it's, you know, it is what it is. With the white, the problem with just only having white gis is, like, they turn a nasty color faster.
They can.
Whereas, like, the blue and the black gis hide that way better.
Maybe that's why the dirty people wear them.
That's probably why. That would probably be why. But I think, you know, it's kind of like, wear whatever you want, you know, whatever your academy, the rules are, you know. Now, to go to the other half of that question, if you're wearing something that's mixed match, where you're wearing a white top with blue pants or something like that, where you're mixed matching, I think that just looks really bad. It just it's like, buddy, do you not know where, like, how, like, do you not know how to match clothes? You know, like, you don't walk around the street wearing, you know, a bright pink shirt and bright yellow pants. Like, you just look goofy. Well, some people do. But you bought the gi with a set. Now, if, like, the pants blew out, just go buy the same color pants again. You know, I think that looks kind of weird. I always have thought that was kind of weird. I don't want to say, like, disrespectful, but I just think that's just it just looks very off.
I get it.
The last part of this I'll answer is. I've had this happen a lot, especially with new people, is when they come in and they see somebody wearing a different, like a blue gi or something, or a black gi. They're like, what does that mean? Yeah. You know, why are they wearing that color and not white? And they think that it has, like, some significant meaning, and it's like, it doesn't mean anything. It's just, they just like that damn color. So, yeah, I think that's
I thought the guys would like that one, you know, to get a different opinion on it instead of just, you know, do whatever I tell them to. So.
Yeah, I think, you know, it is what it is. I think that
I've owned many colors of gis. Yeah. And I have mixed matched gis before. The times are changing. We are now civilized jiu-jitsu trainers. Yeah, wear beautiful white gis.
It just looks better. All right, last one is me. I saved this one for last, so because I thought this was a really good question. What went through your head when you got your black belt?
Oh man, I don't know, dude. I couldn't tell you. I always expected myself, to be honest. Like, I always expected to get the black belt. There was never really, like, too many times in training where I was like, didn't ever think I was gonna get it. Like, even as a white belt, I was like, I'm gonna get a black belt one day. I'm gonna train jiu-jitsu till I get it. Probably gonna be a teacher and everything. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. Like, I expected it along some point, and I kind of knew that was coming because at my brown belt, I had just put it off like for so like I slowed down on my training. I kind of like put off on going to seminars, and finally, like, JW texted me. He's like, hey man, if you're not gonna come for yourself, come for your friends, because, you know, there's some people that are, you don't want to miss their day, so stop being selfish, basically. And so I kind of knew it was coming, but I don't know. I mean, it's cool, but it's kind of scary because you're like, oh man, I'm supposed to have all the answers now. Like, nothing changed between, you know, when you tied it on and 10 minutes ago when I was brown belt and didn't know anything. So yeah, I don't know exactly what was going through my mind. Probably, like, you know, I'm not ready for this.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah, a little bit of imposter syndrome. Because, you know, when you're training jiu-jitsu coming up and you see black belts, you think that, like, they have the answer for every single tiny little thing that's ever existed.
Right.
And then when it gets to be your turn, you're like, I don't know all the things that I thought they were supposed to know.
No.
So, yeah, I guess a little bit of, like, imposter syndrome.
Yeah, I can see that. That's, you know, whenever people come to me, even as brown belt, I remember when I started as brown belt, like, I knew one brown belt, I think maybe two. So, like, now being a brown belt, I'm like, oh my god, this is just weird. Like, it's just so weird, and it's like getting closer to black belt. I'm like, when I started, I only knew like one or two black belts. So
you're at the brown belt now, almost to the black belt. You got a little bit more to go. Like, for me, my favorite belt so far was it was my purple belt. Like, because you're good at jiu-jitsu, you can do a lot of fun stuff, but, like, there's still not that much pressure on you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If like some blue belts come in and get the better of you that day, it's like, whatever. Even like a really good like athletic white belt that wrestled, maybe they got some size on you, comes in and gets the better of you, it's like, whatever. But when I got the brown belt, like I felt pressure like all the time. Like, you know, like jiu-jitsu kind of lost some of its fun a little bit because you felt like you had to win because you're like, I'm almost in the black belt. Like I can't be getting beat by you know, these lower belts anymore. But purple belt, you can do cool stuff, but you don't have a lot of pressure on you. So that was my favorite belt.
It's tough for me. I mean, you kind of know some of the stuff that I went through, like at blue belt with my back, and it was like I felt like blue belt is where like I started to establish like the games that I'll be playing for the rest of my jiu-jitsu career. You know, they're like my A games, like collar sleeve, daily hiva, all those stuff. Like really got established at blue belt, but my back was so jacked up that like I couldn't really do it well. And then once it got better at purple belt, that's when I could really start to establish it. So like I felt like blue belt was a lot of fun because it was like I'm not a white belt anymore. Oh my god, But at the same time, it's like, hey, but you're still blue belt. You know. Like, you're still going to make a ton of mistakes, which was kind of nice. But getting the purple belt, then it's like you get a little bit more of that recognition. So between blue and purple is like kind of where I was at. It's like, purple belt, you get that recognition, like, as JW says, like, you are the elite, right? Like, you get a purple belt, like, you can drag people into your game. Yeah, like, you can drag people into your game, and, you know, you can get yourself out of bad situations. But there's still, like you said, not a ton of pressure on you. There's a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, I didn't compete a ton at purple belt, but I think like purple belt was a lot of fun. But for me, I think it was blue. Just developing like everything that I do now. I just looking back, like that's where it started. Purple belt, like I started to redefine it. Now it's like now I'm starting to master like those positions. So
nice.
That's it, man.
That's all I got. Well, guys, hopefully you watched to the end here. Maybe you got a little bit of like a different perspective from our sides. Maybe got a laugh or two out of it. Who knows? But let us know if you like it. You know, we'll do maybe some more of these every once in a while. Come up with some different questions. If you guys have questions you want us to ask, let us know, and we'll see how it goes.
Awesome. Yep. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys on the next video.